Welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to highlight some things from around the community and my own personal thoughts on what EA should do to improve upon the team builder feature they offer in this year's game. Some of these are low-hanging fruit that should be 100% added in the coming year, and others may be a longer 2 to 3 year project. This list is in no order of importance, it's just how it shook out when we recorded it. So let me know your thoughts below on what you think they can add to improve this feature going forward. So let's go ahead and get into it. Right off the bat, the first thing EA needs to add as a feature is the custom stadiums to the game, or at a minimum a selection of generic stadiums that we can customize in certain areas. Games like MLB Show have this feature, and they would add awesome creations that other users in the community could use. It does bleed into the immersion that a lot of us strive for when we have to utilize a stadium from a team and their logo is smack in the middle of the scoreboard. While I would love for this to be fully integrated into the game, the current team builder system is not, so it would be understandable to assume this feature may not be as well. For next season, that could be acceptable. Down the road, it would be amazing to see this whole feature included in the game to allow offline players to utilize it as well. Next thing that has garnered a lot of support from the community is the custom rosters to be utilized for your team. Obviously, creating all 85 players is tedious, so the pre-made one is a great place to start, but we should also be allowed to edit these players before they get into the game. I'm sure a big portion of this limited freedom comes from legal issues surrounding real-life players' creation, but similar to how games limit certain combinations of words, it should be easy to prevent a user from typing in a player such as Arch Manning into the player name. Regardless, giving the player the ability to edit before inserting the roster into the game allows for easier input on keyboard rather than scrolling through each individual thing on controller when you're trying to adjust overalls and things of that nature. Having only 4 jerseys options is better than the generic home and away slots, but not having the ability to utilize all 20 available slots we see teams like Oregon have severely limits creativity of the player base. Obviously, if the user doesn't want to take the time to create all 20, then it is understandable, but with so many teams having more than 4 jerseys and a ton of them having up into the double digits, it would be great to see this limit increased. It would just add a lot of variability where you can throw in throwback unis, alternate uniforms, and different things for each team. Before we get into the last half of the video, I would like to ask you all, if you're enjoying today's video, to be sure to hit that like and sub button below. It is free of charge, but it really increases the chances we spread this video and the channel to more viewers so we can continue to grow our great community here on YouTube. Also, a ton of you are returning viewers that aren't subscribed, so be sure to double check before you go. And if you want to be sure to never miss a video, hit that notification bell as well. Anyways, let's go ahead and get back to it. This next thing has been the sole reason why I don't use team builders typically, and that is due to the fact that I have to remove a team and add the team builder team into my dynasty. This really kills a dynasty run for me after a few seasons, since I know I'm missing out on a real FBS team in the game, and it just feels wrong. Having the ability to add at least one team free of charge would be an amazing change to this feature. If there was a way to add more free of charge teams, that would also be even better, but it is probably extremely unlikely since we would be able to add any amount of teams that may get added into the game in the future, which impacts sales in their opinion. Regardless, having the ability to really bring a team to the FBS in a new area of the country without having to sacrifice any real team would be an awesome experience. And speaking of an area of the country in line with the free charge, Team Edition having the ability to change your university's location would be great. A big issue with the current model is that once you add a team, you are locked into the pipelines of the team you replace, so it doesn't matter if your university is from North Dakota and you replace USF, you will have all Florida pipelines. This is more annoying since it feels off when recruiting players, but it is something that most people probably can look past, and they do so currently. But I would love to see this change just to allow a little bit more realism when you're adding in these team builder teams. Keeping in line with the last 2 topics, being able to change your team's rivals would be a huge boost to this feature, especially if you decide to add a handful of team builder teams to the game that would be rivals in real life. Currently, you are stuck with whatever team you replace, and if they don't have many or any rivals, then you are stuck not being able to complete the prerequisites for Scheme Guru, and you're really limited if you want to go down the tactician path. A more minor change that could be used in the full game would be the ability to come in with an all-new coaching staff or to hire guys right away if you want. Having to wait a full season to bring in the staff that you want is just not only realistic, but a tad annoying. So when you're creating a team builder team, it would be great if you could also add in a couple coaches there just to give you a little bit more immersion of guys that you want on your team and you want to be the coaching staff. And the last thing I wanted to highlight would be the ability to select your team's school grades. These play a vital role in recruiting and would be great to have the control over what type of school you wanted to make. Is it an Ivy League school with a ton of history like Princeton, or is it a new school that had a ton of focus on sports and built really great facilities but at the slacking of academics? EA could have this as a point system where you can increase certain areas a set amount, or similar to how they did with the roster, you could select from a few pre-made created layouts and they could just have 5 or 6 of those that you can choose from. And so those are a few things I could muster from around the Reddit, YouTube comments, and my personal thoughts. What are some of your all's improvements you would make to this feature? I appreciate you all being here, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. And a huge shout out to Chris, our very first premium channel member. Thanks for all your support, man. It's really appreciated.